Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we are going to the next lecture, and today we are going to look into the commissioning. So, in the subject of maintenance of HVAC system BMMH 3543. So, basically, the commissioning is an important element in the process to hand over a building. So, before we hand over a building, we need to uh, do the testing and commissioning to the system. For example, in our field HVAC system, we must do the TNC or testing and commissioning. So, the term of commissioning is the simplest way to write the commissioning term is CX or commissioning. So, as the introduction, what is actually the commissioning and why we need the purpose, the benefit, the commissioning process, and then the role and responsibilities to the engineer, to the workers, and what is the documentation required, and the commission management. So, what is actually a commissioning? Commissioning is actually a quality process that we do to verify and document that building system and assemblies that meet the needs of building owner and the occupant. So basically this is the terminology of the commissioning. So why we need the commissioning in the process? So actually, the purpose of commissioning is we want to collaborative effort. We want to make sure we have identified and addressed the design construction. Is it okay or not? Is it in good or not? The operational issue such as is it our HVAC or AHU system, our air conditioning operate in a good condition? So so actually the purpose of commissioning is to be an extra pairs of eye to make sure our design and our assemblies is in good shape. So we want to develop a solution to make sure we meet the owner's performance and the operational needs. So the performance must be in very good condition. Of course, the owner want have to make sure their your building after the installation they have a very good performance of what they are installed, and the operational system is operate in good condition. So the building will be operate as intended from the um, day one. So from the commissioning process, they will make sure the building, what they are assembled, what they are installed, is in good shape from the first day of the start of the commissioning, and then after they operate. So this is quite the major advantages of commissioning, or the benefit of commissioning. We want to discover the design problem at the early stage to make sure they are less expensive to fix after a complete project or the installation process. So we can go for the defect list. So then we can make sure we repair it, alter it, renovate any other things that are needed. So we want to reduce the change order. We want to make sure the transition, the smoother transition along the project handover. So before handover project, we want to make sure all in good shape. So we want to create more effective operation and manual via documentation and facility staff training. So basically the manual of operation and manual documentation usually will be reflect back to the commissioning process. So we want also to make sure we improve the indoor air quality, because the air conditioning system, if poor air conditioning system, we will make sure it reflect to the poor indoor air quality, and make sure we doesn't have any complaint from the occupants. So we want to make sure we also lower the energy cost. So another benefit of commissioning, actually we want to make sure our project, the schedule of project is on time, and then we want to make sure we establish and maintain the energy and the maintenance budget, and then we go to the change order are greatly reduced, and then the claim also are greatly reduced because more complaints will be make sure more uh, work that to be done. So that's why we want to make sure the claims are not too much, and then the punch list is not existent, and then the operator also have the correct training from the operation and manual documentation. We want to also enforce the startup of the requirement also, and then we want to reduce the post occupancy corrective work, which is the defect work. There's a lot of benefit of the commissioning, and then one more absenteeism has dismissed. Users have been able to take the ownership because everybody, everything, the installation, the design, the equipment is in good condition, so we can go to make sure the ownership of the building is not any problem, and then the lasting professional relationship have been developed. So we want to make sure the professional relationship between the subcontractor, the main contractor, and the consultant and the building owner will be last forever. And then we want to make sure the building and system are operate as owner predicted, which is the owner pay the money to build the building or the system or the equipment. So they want to make sure um, the building that they are invest is in good shape, in good condition. We want to also minimize the effect of design defects, and then we want to improve indoor environment and employee production, reduce energy operation costs, and increase value through the better quality construction. So let's go to the commissioning process. The commissioning process will involve several uh, step, but somehow it's all about the team because it will make sure the commissioning process start from the workers to the engineer to the project manager and then the building owner, the consultant. Everyone must take responsibility to do the commissioning process. So what is the commissioning authority? There are between the architect and engineer, and then the building owner, the contractor, and then this is all in one shape, or what we call the team of the commissioning authority. So basically, the commissioning is not just testing at the end, but it also must start from the day one. So actually, during the installation process, we must make sure the commissioning also have start from the installation. The process of the installation, is it good or not, because it will reflect to the end of our installation of our product. So the commissioning process is start from the pre-design, and then we go to the design process, and then the construction, and then the occupancy and the operational phase. So this is where the project will be turned over, and then the warranty will begin. So the design of commissioning activities will start where design intent is created in response to the owner express requirement. So the owner have their own requirement, own demand. So the design was made sure meet their intention. So the resolve confusing information. So any information that are confused, we have several misleading information, for example. So the commissioning process from the design must be resolved at the design stage of the commissioning activities. So we must also uh, evaluate the constructability, and then we have to look into the commission ability of the system. So this is where the process we have to identify the design that prevent or impede the functional testing, and then we have to also list down and identify any value of engineering opportunities at this stage. So during the commissioning of construction phase, we have to make sure the system readiness and the startup, in all good condition, and then the operation and functional performance also must be checked out. Everything must be function and operation accordingly. Then we have to make sure the functional or performance must be verified by the commissioning authority. So the commissioning authority, as what we previously looked into, is the architect, the engineer, and then the owner, and also the uh, contractor. So the demonstration and use the service instruction for handover to owner. So before we hand over operation and manual to the owner, we must demonstrate and use and service accordingly to the instruction before we hand over to the owner. So next one, the acceptance phase, which is after the we complete the testing and commissioning process, we must subset of construction phase. So the completion of project as fully, we must make sure at this stage is fully operational facility with verification by the commissioning authority here, and then the functional test and the function individual system and between the system was me taking off. So the instruction and handover to operators must be operation of each system, startup and shutdown the startup and shutdown procedure, and operational and monitoring the maintenance. So of course, why is the commissioning process is so important? Of course, it's all about the money. We want to reduce the budget, the cost, and we want to increase the profit. Not only on the subcontractor, the contractor, the main contractor, but also to the building owner. So, actually, what is the difference between price and cost? So, price, of course, it will is reflect to the price is something that you pay one time. So, just want to buy a pen, for example, you just pay this 2 ringgit, and then we just pay 2 ringgit. But how about the cost? Cost, it's what it takes. So basically, so the benefit and cost saving if we do the commissioning process from the concept design, the benefit is will be high during the design, construction, acceptance, and the occupancy. So if you want to change a project, if we are not doing the commissioning process at the early stage. So during the concept design and construction, of course, it will not take a lot of cost. But of course, during the acceptance and occupancy, they will take a lot of cost because there will be too much of defect, too much of uh, redundancy, too much of a problem. So that's why the cost will be higher from the construction until the occupancy stage here. So cost saving from the building commissioning, the energy saving may varies from 20 to 50%. The maintenance saving will be 15 to 50%. The reduction in claim will be reduced from 2 to 20%, and the reduction of in-house overtime costs will be cut also, and then the troubleshooting costs also will be cut here. So the role and responsibilities for the team of the commissioning process. So the architect or the engineer must be a good and great team player, and then the design the project with owner style and requirement must be in mind. So this is why the architect and engineer must be usually experienced, so they have to know the future, what they need to do, what else need to be done accordingly. So they also must be willing to make any changes, attend and participate in commissioning meetings. So this is quite important. Usually during the commissioning process, we will have a very weekly or maybe 2 weeks one time commissioning meeting, and then the they also must attend and participate in the owner project requirement meeting. So the commissioning meeting may be between your company, and then the meeting between the owner and the main contractor usually will take place. And then also the architect and engineer must also assist the commissioning develop basic design document, also in operation O&M, operation and manual documentation. So the architect and engineer also must answer the RFIs in timely manner. So RFI is usually refer to the request for information document, the letter, and then the answer change orders in timely manner. So they also must attend, participate in VE process. So, what is the role and responsibilities for the owner representative? So, they also must make decision in timely manner. So, usually any problem, the contractor, the subcontractor will ask the building owner. So, they must make the decision. They also must attend the participate in the owner project and the commissioning meeting. So they also must have their own commissioning authority contract. So they also must approve the owner project recommend documentation and approve the commissioning plan. So the role and responsibilities for the project manager, they must manage the overall project here for the commissioning and coordinate the subcontractor work. Also, this is very important. The coordination, a very good coordination of construction manager will be refer and influence the work of the subcon. And then they also must enter the meeting of the commissioning meeting and the owner project and attend and participate in the VA process, have the coordination developed. So coordination drawing usually will be referred to the as-built drawing. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing contractors, so they must install their respective work. Of course, they must complete the various checklists, the RFI, the NCR, non-compliance report, for example. They must complete all, be part of the commissioning team, attend meeting, attend the VE process, and must be a very good team player. So the commissioning authority, overall, the commissioning authority must manage the commissioning process, develop the commissioning plan from the early stage until the handover of the project. They must also develop a commissioning specification. What is every single equipment or every single things they are commissioned, there must be a very good specification. So they must be referred back and I have to make sure this equipment is referred to the specification that we are installed, work with other team members and develop on a project requirement documentation and the assistance of engineer to develop the basis of design. So the commissioning operative also must be conduct the commissioning meeting, review the project in timely manner. If not, the project will be delayed accordingly, and then it will make sure it will take a lot of cost if the project is not handing over in time. So they must also review the submittal for the compliance, review the warranties for the record, review the checklist, perform the FPT, turn building over to the owner. So usually the commissioning authority not responsible for the design. So what is the documentation required? So usually for our case for HVAC system, we are referring to the ASHRAE guideline. So the ASHRAE guideline have their own specification. So uh, we have also the documentation that are required is all owner's project requirement document, the commissioning plan, the basis of design, the contract documents, TAB report or testing air balancing report, the draft and final commissioning report, the warranties, and operation and maintenance manual. So we have also the documents that are required during the end of the commissioning process as approved change of order. Anything that we are changed must be approved by the MANCON consultant. And then we have also the SB drawing. Usually the design stage, the drawing of design stage is not same as the SB drawing. So they have to make sure the SB drawing is um, changed accordingly. So the testing data and verification and documentation must be kept properly, and then the sequence of operation, which one come first, which one uh, must be switched on first, the minute of meeting, every time of minute of meeting of between the commissioning team, and then the building owner must be keep to make sure any changes or anything are recorded, and then the local juridical inspection and documentation and record. So usually the inspection by bomber, for example, by the JKR, so must be made sure keep properly. So now we go to the responsibility of project manager. For the team meetings, they must arrange an all team members meeting early. A meet and greet meeting could be a lunch meeting, not a working meeting. So usually they will do regularly meetings, so maybe can do during the lunch hour. The commissioning communication, copy the commissioning team with anything concerning the commissioning system, provide up-to-date contact list. For example, for the chiller, who is the supplier, who is the maintenance team for the supplier, who can we contact, anything about electrical, for example, about the plumbing, so anything must be up to date, the contact list. If possible, must be provide a telephone dial in number for commissioning team use. So we also must be regularly schedule their telephone number in turnover phase. For example, if any changes, maintenance is changing, must make sure is up to date. Copy everyone with the commission report, and make communication is easy. The resolution for the commissioning process is to resolve any issue at the lowest level, and then we try to make sure we solve any issues firstly with the subcon, and then goes to the main contractor before going to the consultant and building owner. Also, we have to resolve them during the inspection if possible. If any small scale project, if can do at present day, just go ahead, and then handle any commissioning issues immediately. So commissioning mockup also, the mockup where possible, train design installer on mockup, the A and B and C team, the architect, the consultant, the subcontractor, the building owner, do test installation on high quantity equipment. So the priority of commissioning process is from the team meetings. They keep the commissioning in the loop, respond to the issues responsibility promptly. We have to make sure that we solve the issue at the lowest level, and we use the mockup. So let's go look into the commissioning of HVAC system. So usually the commissioning for the HVAC is carried out after the installation of the equipment and the system, to make sure the HVAC system are operate and perform safely, satisfactorily, and efficiently. So usually the HVAC system such as the chiller, cooling tower, boiler, air HU, fan coil unit, split unit aircon must be operate under the design condition where we make sure they are deliver a very good output, a good airflow, to make sure relatively short period of the year. So systematic and true commissioning HVAC system and control must be carried out after the installation, and must make sure we test the new equipment that are we install, and then we have the commissioning is essential in the case of HVAC to make sure we deliver the optimal performance and provide the energy and water efficiencies. So usually these are referring to the ASU, referring to the chiller and the piping and pumping system. We also must make sure we have a very good and proper balancing for the air and water system. For the air system, usually refer to the ducting system and the diffuser. and water system is using refer to the chiller and air ratio, the chill water system that goes into the air ratio and FCU. Is it refer to the good design specification and correct setting for the building management system control to make sure we maintain the good documentation. So this is the key to the good commissioning process. The retuning, what we call the recommissioning, is used when existing system is commissioned after a period of time has elapsed since the original commissioning was carried out. So usually when after the first commissioning process is done, then we are changing something, so we have to make sure we do the once again commissioning, or what we call the recommissioning, because they have any minor changes, maybe uh, in the system parameter, maybe for the changes. So new project requirement and consideration, we have to control and commissioning the specialists have important contribution, because usually an experienced commissioning person and maintenance or service team make sure important to make a very good contribution. And then the sustainability and maintainability, right, for the concept design through documentation and installation, commissioning and sign off. And then the commissioning specialist between the design specialist and customer usually will involve to fine tune and optimize the system to make sure it achieve the demand and the specification or design requirement. And then we also must receive the information from the design specialist. So troubleshooting and commissioning skills are also essential to deliver high performance and HVAC system. So this is refer back to the uh, technician or engineer that are experienced. So engineer must have a very good appreciation of commissioning and balancing of HVAC and control system, and must be familiar with the ASHRAE guideline of the commissioning process. So after the commissioning process is complete, the installer or the subcontractor or the contractor must issue a signed certificate confirming that confirm that the system has been verified by the consultant or the main contractor or the building owner, and then the document must be kept well, and then the the accuracy must be validated by them. So actually this is the process of um, the key works of HVAC system and the key activities. We start from, for example, the operation process, and then goes to the commissioning, and then the installation process, upgrading any minor changes or upgrading, and then we go to the repairing, servicing, designing, optimization, and then the monitoring, and then goes back to the, this is uh, the spin-off work of the HVAC system key activity. So usually the building tuning over a period usually we do in one year or 12 month, covering seasonal climate change by the HVAC system to make sure we deliver an optimum efficiencies. The operation and maintenance manual should be live document that keep track the commissioning process. Also, it is also important to make sure the proper commissioning, which minimize the unnecessary throttling. Usually include the resistance from excessively long length of flexibility duct and the squash duct. So many building doesn't have the design and water airflow operation. So common reason for this usually include the HVAC system are not commissioned and balanced initially or over the years. So that's why if you are not doing any commissioning process, the documentation, the document that shows on the specification of the system, entire HVAC system is not there. So that's why will be problem in the future. So sometimes the office will change the zone heating cooling, which have been uh, bearing to the required airflow. So the importance of proper commissioning is to fine tune, rebalancing, and rotor commissioning is process. So we want to also minimize system volume flow rate, so it will reduce our energy consumption. So that's all from me for the commissioning process. So this is all the theory parts, the benefit and the purpose of the commissioning process. Okay, till next time. I'll meet you guys soon. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.